I'm going to tell you 3 ways to manipulate a narcissist and 2 ways to manipulate a psychopath. The first way of manipulating a narcissist is reverse psychology. So you pretend you really want to do something, then the narcissist will try and take that off you and they'll try and do it instead of you. So this is acting, and you're going to pretend to be upset. But you're also going to pretend to suppress your upset. You don't want to be too blatant about it. It's better to keep it quite subtle, and then they don't cotton on to what you're doing. It's as though you're trying to hide the wound, but it's seeping through. You're trying to pretend like you don't care, but you just can't. Acting is what's required here. The narcissist sees that, or they believe that you enjoy a certain task or responsibility, and they think if they can take that off you, they'll get all the glory. In reality, you don't want to do this thing. You don't want this thing. You're pretending that you do. So with all these manipulations, you need to keep them relatively short. Your mind is like a surgeon's scalpel. It's not for everyday tasks. You don't take it around with you and, tighten a loose screw or scrape something off the concrete, or it'll go blunt. You need to be able to spend more time alone, getting things done and regulating yourself, building self-worth by achieving tasks, so that when it comes to manipulation, you are sharp, you are switched on, you're not exhausted, you're not dysregulated by, the constant use of your mirror neurons, your overactive mirror neurons, to feel into a person and see really where they're at. And this is what borderlines do. They exhaust this aspect of themselves. Overactive mirror neurons are related to anxiety and depression. It's exhausting. Really getting someone else all the time. Because what about you? You should be getting on with your day, getting on with your life. You should be getting on with your life and your tasks. So if you do that, if you can do that, you can get on with things. When it comes to manipulating the narcissist, you'll be very sharp. You'll be rested. You haven't been mirroring other people and getting exhausted and absorbing their negativity and getting burnout. So let's return to the first manipulation, pretending that you want someone. Or it can be someone. You want someone or something, or to do some job. You're pretending you want it. Now again, keep it really subtle, and you'll only be able to do this if you are regulating yourself in your spare time. Otherwise, you're probably just going to blow it. It'll come across half-baked. You'll be blunt. You'll be just too blunt to do it. You're going to pretend you want something, someone, some task, and then when the narcissist takes it, you're a little bit upset. You're a bit hurt. And that's what they feed on. They're so short-term, they can't really see that, oh, maybe this person's just fucking with me. No, because they're the greatest and they're better than everyone, so they fool everybody. They're so smart. The second method is to take the love bomb and run. This is a very short-term strategy. If you do this, you will anger the narcissist, you will hurt their feelings, you will make them look silly, and so now you've got an enemy. So this is something you will do only when you don't have to deal with this person again. Now here again, it's acting. So you got to stay regulated. You've got to get your things done in your spare time so that your mind is sharp. Your mirror neurons are not exhausted. Well, they have not exhausted you. You are match fit. So when you do this, you're pretending to idealize them. You're pretending to fall for it. So you're playing dumb here. Oh, wow, you're so amazing and great. You're flattering them. And what normally happens is people that flatter them are abused. They switch from seeking admiration to becoming abusive because they get grandiose. You're gassing them up. They start to think they are so great. Yeah, I've really got this one. This is a very good method. It's a good method to show you what the narcissist is, because when you aren't genuinely invested, you'll be able to see them clearly. And you'll see that the light in their eyes was never love. It was always this kind of predatory lust. You'll only see that because you're not invested in some soulmate twin flame fantasy. You'll see things for what they are. Again, I will stress that this is a short-term strategy. Taking the love bomb and running is a humiliation. You're shaming the narcissist. You fooled them. They didn't fool you at all. So you're only going to do this if you don't have to deal with them again. So if it's your first day of work and you decide to use someone to get a ride home and then you just don't talk to them after that, well, now you've got a dedicated enemy. Silly. So, as I say, that's a short-term one. The final manipulation is to hurt the narcissist. This is a punishment. They've messed with you and now you're going to punish them. I hope you know by now that we don't punish narcissists by shouting at them, yelling them, telling them they're a mean person. No. We punish them by taking the attention away from them. So they will have a niche in which they occupy. Maybe they're the person with advice. Maybe they're the person, I don't know, with a car. They give people rides. Or maybe they're the person who's a chef. You're going to take that away from them. We'll use the chef example. You're going to take that away from them. They're probably an okay chef. I mean, some of what they do is bullshit, but there will be some ability there to make it, realistic. They seldom are complete and utter frauds. That's just too hard to work. It's better to have some truth with your lie. So let's say they're a great chef. Now, you might not be a very good chef. So what you might do is you might grow vegetables. It's a related thing. You're going to grow produce. So it's the general theme of food. And you will be stealing attention from them. Maybe people will cook their own food now because they have their own produce. You're stealing the narcissist's oxygen here. That's how you hurt them. You don't go and shout at them and call them names because then they're going to tell everyone else what you said and isolate you. You're actually feeding them by doing that. Generally, by acting directly on them, you feed them. By acting indirectly around them, you starve them. You blot out the sun. So, they're a chef. You start growing tomatoes and lettuces. People start making their own salads. Now nobody needs the narcissist anymore. Everyone's thrilled with you. And you'll see this will really hurt them. They'll get really salty about this. But that's a punishment. That's you just saying to them, don't fuck with me. You fuck with me and I'll hurt you. Again, this is, you don't have to interact with them here. We want to keep our interactions short. You're just going to arrive with produce and deliver it to people. That's it. You may not even have to interact with them at all. You may bring them some produce. Oh, you want to make a salad? This will wind them. You know you got a narc when they act winded. They just stop. They just stop dead. It's so painful. That envy comes from inside, and what can they do about it? It's so difficult to deal with. What if they launch into you can't give people tomatoes? Everyone will go, what the fuck? And their whole persona will be ruined. They'll have trashed it. That could happen though, but I mean, that's on them. You'll know when they get that winded look. They just stop dead. They're just trying to regain composure. They're so hurt. You've taken away, it's like they're in one of those old-fashioned diving costumes and you're standing on the hose. Now, it's just agony. So, let's recap. Your first method is reverse psychology. Your second method is to play dumb. And your third method is a punishment. And that is to steal their attention by doing something related. Now, let's discuss manipulating psychopaths. Psychopaths are generally easier to work with because they're not as interested in your pain. They're interested in their own goals. If you can persuade a psychopath that your goal is also their goal, they will help you. But this method I call riding the lightning. Once you start, you better be ready to finish. You better be ready to go right to the end and complete the task. You're not going to manipulate the psychopath to work for you. They're not stupid. They will work alongside you, and it will probably exhaust you because they are more resistant to pain than you are. So to get them to think that their goal is your goal, you need to talk about the rewards, the power they're going to get from it, how great it's going to be. Really sell it to them, how it will increase their power, their prestige, anything they can leverage against others to get more of what they want and less of what they don't want. So if you want to, I don't know, you want to do some business proposal, you've got an idea for a new business and you need them to, get alongside you, you're going to sell them about, if they invest, what they're going to get and da-da-da-da-da. I would suggest, though, you keep these things, again, keep it short term. Keep it short term. The psychopath will exhaust you and you'll rage. And then then you're really head to head. That's not what you want. You don't want to be head to head with the psychopath, obviously. You want to be going in the same direction, but keep these projects small, keep them short term. Don't get dysregulated. You need your own time to do your own things. When you're manipulating narcissists and psychopaths, it's really to bring them in service of your goals. With the narcissist, usually it's to get them out of your way. The psychopath, as I say, you're riding the lightning. You want to get something done faster. Keep it short term, though. Don't be lazy. When you manipulate cluster B, it's not a case of just being lazy and imagining you can say magical words and people will serve you forever. That doesn't even work for them. They go through people because they do attempt to use magical words, but after a while these words wear off and people say, well, what am I getting out of this? Short-term thinking always leaves a trail of destruction. So you're going to work with the psychopath on something. You're going to sell them how this task will bring them power too. So this is more of a 50-50 type manipulation. You'll get what you want, they'll get what they want. And because their goals are power oriented, these are goals you can use. Why don't you want more power? What's wrong with that? And the final manipulation is when you don't want to get thrown under the bus. You want to show that you've had enough. So this is not done with a wild outburst. I wouldn't suggest that you want to try and remain quite calm, but you really want to pull them aside and you want to slowly start to heat up. You want to just slowly start to heat up. You're really telling them that and then once they feel this emotional intensity, if you have proven yourself to be a useful tool, they're not going to like it. It's kind of like, they got a drill and the drill's starting to overheat. It hasn't broken. If you just go crazy and ape shit, it looks like you've broken. So, you should be thrown away. But this is more, you're just starting to get too hot. It's time, they don't want to ruin this tool. It's a good tool. They don't want to exhaust it and ruin it. So you've got to be careful. You slowly heat up. You really just want to tell them. And there's a gravity, there's a gravitas. There's a bit of weight behind what you're saying. You're not going to get angry quickly, but you will eventually, just get emotionally dysregulated. And they don't want that. They want efficient, cold running tools to achieve their goals. So in order for this to work, you have to have already established yourself as being useful. If you just, blow up on the first day, they're going to go, well, this is a fucking useless tool, into the bin with it. You need to prove that you are useful over a long period of time, and then really choose your battles. You're starting to get emotionally dysregulated. They don't like that because they don't really relate. They don't relate to that. So it's like, uh-oh, something's going wrong here. Oh, shit. What's this thing doing? You're just starting to Because you think about the borderline, when the borderline dysregulates, they go crazy and they destroy everything. They just ruin everything. It's not like how the psychopath uses instrumental aggression. This is just destructive. Who knows what this crazy fucker might do? They're not cold and calculated. They'll destroy everything. They'll ruin it all, themselves included, but they don't seem to care. This is the advantage you have over the psychopath. You don't care. Again, with the psychopath, work alongside them. You don't want to try and, get into it with them. They'll just throw you away. They don't care. They'll just chuck you away. Not like the narcissist who loves to have someone to fight with all day long. The psychopath's not like that. They want to get shit done. If you are a good tool and they want to keep you, they'll listen to what you say. But as I say, start off slow. But you really mean it though. You're not fucking around. Pick and choose very carefully. You don't have many of these cards to play. Very, very few. Psychopaths will work you, but they tend to be more knowledgeable than narcissists. They're not so about fooling people. They're about getting shit done. Now, if you're dealing with a malignant narcissist, I'll give you a little bonus here. Optional extras, bonuses. You want to try and get the malignant narcissist into their power-related goals. You can go both ways with them. They're happy to torture you, but they might be happy to get shit done. So you need to appeal to their psychopathy, not their narcissism. You're not going to flatter them, so on and so forth. You want to stick to the topic. You can ask them about knowledge, pump them for knowledge. You can, get onto the things that they're knowledgeable about. Stay away from the narcissism and go towards the psychopathy. How do you do A, B, and C? And you can discuss tactics and so on and so forth. Again, with all of these manipulations, you keep them short. That's the key here. If you spend a lot of time, you will unravel, your mask will drop. Game over. All you can do is self-destruct then. And when you self-destruct, start again. So, with the psychopath, you want to convince them that your power-related goals are theirs. So yeah, you may need to adapt your goals a little bit so that it's convincing. You're not going to just manipulate these people and get everything that you want. It's going to be 50-50 here, more or less. Or, sometimes though, they're fully on board and they really like it. So it could be more, but, in general, 50-50. And then your other goal is to just slowly overheat. Boss, I'm starting to overheat, boss. I don't know what's happening to me, boss. What's happening to me, boss, And oh no, shit, the tool's overheating. Oh, we better cool that down. I don't understand these crazy humanoids that get so emotionally unwound. So, pick and choose. Very carefully pick and choose your battles. Good luck out there.